Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and this is my show named after me, Warren Hayes. And this is the show that we talk about professional wrestling right here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Why am I always talking about youtube.com? Because this is where I record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, 8 Central. You know, those are the principal time zones that I know of. I probably know more, but hey, this is where we're at right now. And this is what we're doing here tonight. And I am so stoked to be here again on another Thursday to talk about wrestling with all of y'all. Yes, all of y'all who are hanging out here tonight on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show live chat, because we accumulate a very lovely, wonderful live chat every Thursday evening. And my gosh, what a wonderful time it is. And look, let me pull this up here. I feel like I'm half ready here. Look at who we've got here. We've got Robert Larry, who's here joining us tonight. How are you doing, Robert? Good to see you. Kelly Tonjas, nice to see you, Kelly. I almost did the HJ thing again, but I didn't. Welcome, Kelly. It's nice to see you. We've also got Chris Fielder. Nice to see you, Chris. Welcome to the show. Who else have we got? We've got Big T, who's here as well. Nice to see you, Big T. Scroll. Hey, look at this. Phantomark82, our boy Ben, who supplies us with all the musics. Ben, good to see you. Welcome again. Follow Ben at facebook.com/Phantomark82. You need to do that. Mr. Fretz is here as well. Nice to see you, Fretz. Nice to see you. DGMC is in the house. John Bear Gaming, hello again. Nice to see you. We've also got AK Germany 96 who's joined us. What a wonderful crew of people that we have accrued here tonight. See, we've accrued a crew. It's kind of like, playing fancy with words. That's what we're doing. That's all we do here. We're very fancy people here at the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. And I only attract the fanciest as well. At this point, I'm just going to just going to stop. But hey, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me live here tonight. And if you are enjoying this right now, if you're like, hey, I'm feeling good, this is great, Warren's in a good mood, I'm in a good mood, let's go ahead and give him a thumbs up on this video. Woo! That'd be great. A good old-fashioned thumbs up here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. That stuff is fantastic. And if you're watching later on demand, on your own time, you can still give the video a thumbs up, and that's great as well. Plus, if you're listening to this maybe on your favorite podcast application, because the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is also available as a video, as video, of course, but as an audio podcast. My God, man. And we can get right. You can give us some love there with a review, a subscription, a follow, a like, whatever. And that also helps out a great deal. Thank you very much if you're listening to this in audio format. I know you guys are out there. I know I make a big deal of the live chat because it's so cool. People take time out of their day to come here, and it's always something that it still astounds me to this day. I'm still not used to it. It's not something like I appreciate anyone who takes the time out of their weekly schedules to come here live. And I appreciate anyone who takes the time to come and join me live as well. Not necessarily live, just at any time. Just to tune in, listen, whatever. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a great deal. Thank you all very much. Those are nice little simple ways to show some love for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. You can also show some love to beltobells.com. That's BELLTOBELLES.com. Your women's wrestling wire. We're still punching through the PWI 500 list, and we're interviewing women, all sorts of women who made it on the list and who we were excited to see on the list, and we're excited to see on the list. And you should check it out. I interviewed a bunch of people. We have some guest commentators. We've got Emily May, not commentators, interviews. We've got Emily May, who's got some interviews coming up. We've got Sam Laterna as well, who's going to be, who's interviewed a couple of people. A whole bunch of folks. I'm forgetting people right now, but there's a whole bunch of people going through these interviews. We've got over 20 of them. Super exciting stuff. The women of the 500, the PWI 500. Go check it out, beltobells.com. Or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/beltobells, or on Twitter, twitter.com/beltobells, BELLTOBELLES. That's always great. That's just great. Let's see what else. What else we got? The Discord? Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord? Hey, you know what's... Look, G1 season is coming up, starting on the 18th, right? So, 2 days from now. Starting on the 18th, and one of our members over there on the Discord, Sean, has started up a G1 Climax 31 Pick'em, a predictions gimmick, I guess you'd call it. And he started that up on the Discord for members of the Discord, and there's a prize for whoever scores the most points, who is closest to the results, of course. Whoever scores the most points at the end, we got a nice $50 gift card. Do they still call them gift certificates? I suddenly feel very old, towards the 1980s when McDonald's was sort of pushing to say, hey, put some McDonald's gift certificates as stocking stuffers. We don't call them gift certificates anymore, do we? They're gift cards, right? There's things like that sometimes slip out of my mouth. And they make me feel really old. Like when I say a record, I listened to the latest Radiohead record, or I listen, oh yeah, I've got the latest Run the Jewels record, and people are, it's kind of, shows my age a little bit, but I don't care. Y'all know what I'm talking about regardless, even if I'm not using the contemporary terminology. You still understand what I'm talking about. What was I talking about? Yeah, so our pick'em, we have a prize, $50. We're getting, look, whether it's a gift certificate or a gift card, you're getting $50 at ProWrestlingTees.com if you win the pick'em. Now, what do you do to what? You join the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord. The link is in the description. And just read up on the rules. The link is there. You can read up on how to join and everything. It's cool. It's absolutely cool. So please. And Nightbot, just as if he was on cue, for those of you who are in the chat right now, he put up the link for the Discord right there. Just come on in, join the community. Fun discussions. It's a good place, good people. I enjoy people. I enjoy good people. So Mr. Warren Hayes Show, Discord, community, that's there. That's where the people hang out. Especially if you like to come to the live chats on Thursday nights. There's a lot of people who hang out in the live chat who are there in the Discord. So it's just a continuation. We just keep talking. It's cool and stuff. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah, fun stuff. Don't forget, everyone, that after the Mr. Warren Hayes Show proper, I do my post stream, which is called Warren is Off the Clock, where I talk with members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show YouTube channel right here. People have become members to support the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel here, which is fantastic, by the way, and I appreciate it. We hang around for some time after the show here, and we talk about wrestling. We continue talking about wrestling, and tonight, it's a bit of an open topic night. There's a lot of stuff going on. I didn't want to zero into something. I want to hear what you guys want to talk about. So come on in. Come join us. First of all, become a member of the channel. Then you can come join us. Immediately when I'm done here, I jump onto another stream, and we talk in the chat. If you want to jump into the Discord, I take live Discord calls. It's fantastic. It's a good time to sit around and chat with everyone. Good times. Become a member, show some support, and you can also join. You can also show support by leaving us a super chat, and I will read your super chat live on the air, such as J.K. Schwal, who left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, insert dancing coughing meme video about NXT 6.0. That's pretty much where we're at. Yeah, I see, and I'm like, I should have queued that up. I should have thought about that, and that's what I should have done, but I didn't do it because I'm a moron. Right? That's the thing. Maybe next time. All right, so let's set this up. Let's get going then. Let's get this going. I'm going, how does this work again? As if I've never done this before. All right, here we go. It's time for the weekly wrestling inspection. Let's get this going. Yes, the weekly wrestling inspection. We're going to kick off stuff this week. We're going to start talking about the week in wrestling, and there's a lot of stuff. By the way, I want to say hello to Mark Forbes. Good to see you, Mark. And I also saw Flowman, right? Flowman is here as well. Good to see you both. Welcome to the chat. So as I started last week, and I'm going to keep doing this, I kind of like it. If you join us live, I run a little poll in the chat just as we're getting ready, and as I'm talking and as I'm preparing, I run a little poll in the chat asking the live viewers, which topic would you like me to talk about first on the show tonight? And by a fairly slim margin tonight, we're going to start talking about AEW Dynamite and the Grand Slam shows coming next week. Let's get to it. Let's get going. I thought, look, I like, you guys know by now. I think that, the AEW Dynamite is probably my favorite wrestling show on a weekly basis. I think this is part of, I think this is part and parcel of things that I like the most about pro wrestling. It just connects with me on that very basic level. So, week after week, I'm like, geez, this show is hot. This show, it just hits me in all the right places. And clearly I'm not alone, because they're doing crazy, they're doing really, really well. I was going to say crazy good, but, here I was earlier talking about how I misuse lingo. I don't want to, anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that. But here they are, again this week, doing another great rating. People are tuning in. They're enjoying it. comes across as a hot product. It is a hot product. So, of course, people are going to tune in. And last night, there wasn't a single match on this where you're like, you absolutely have to tune in and watch this match. Like, there's no recommendations here. There's no matches, in my opinion, where it's like, you absolutely have to tune in and watch this match. But it was a good overall wrestling show, and I liked it. Adam Cole made his Dynamite debut against Frankie Kazarian. I thought that was a very solid opener. And you know what? Look, I mean, here's the things. Like, he's going after, the elite hunter, right? Straight off the bat. I mean, and if you go back over the past couple of weeks since Adam Cole showed up at All Out, Kazarian has sort of been angling for him too. So, it just simple little details, but it all made sense. Good, solid opening match between the two. It kind of makes you wonder. I really have to wonder how. I really have to wonder sometimes how much Adam Cole showing up in AEW is, I don't want to say overshadowed, but is, how secondary it feels maybe to Bryan and CM Punk, right? Who are, and I'm sorry, I called him Bryan again. Bryan Danielson. I'll get there, folks. You're going to have to give me something. You know what? You're going to have to give time to most wrestling podcasters and commentators to get used to it. We've been saying Bryan for the better part of 15 years. Anywho. Yeah, I think the word, the term, the expression I'm looking for is that, I feel like a lot of people feel that Adam Cole showing up on Dark is like a secondary thing to huge stars like Danielson and Punk, which to a degree is understandable. But here's the thing. I can't help but feel that Adam Cole has probably the more long-term upside, right? And here's a guy who can, like, he's not even a guy who's like, oh, I'm here to work with the younger guys, like maybe CM Punk wants to do, or he's not like Bryan where he's like finally I can wrestle, because Bryan is, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And we all know he was being held back in WWE. He wasn't being allowed to wrestle the style that he's capable of doing. And now I'll talk about Bryan in a bit, but now in AEW, he's ready, he's ready to go, and we're expecting him to go, kind of thing. We're expecting to see the flashes of greatness that we know he's capable of. Adam Cole is still a guy who main evented takeovers for NXT, right? He's a guy who was, had flashes of brilliance on main roster that people just love, and he's a guy who's been a world champion everywhere he's been, and he's still in his prime. He's ready. He wants to go. This is a guy that AEW can easily build nice and slowly, keep him in their back pocket, so that at some point it's just like they can pull the trigger, and next thing you know, you've got the coveted Adam Cole world title run. He's a former WWE guy, if you even want to consider that. Because even when he was in WWE, people were like, oh, he's a former Ring of Honor guy. He's a former PWG guy. It's like, he's a guy who just wrestles in promotions, ultimately. So now he's up in AEW and he wants to leave a mark there. I think that in a couple of years we're going to look, I think that in a couple of years Adam Cole is going to be a big deal for AEW. Not that CM Punk and Bryan Danielson are not going to be big deals. They already are big deals. Maybe Adam Cole has a little more longevity, I guess my point is. Maybe. I could be wrong. We can revisit this take in a couple of years. But this was a very good match. Don't get me wrong. This was good stuff. Then we had I'm going to skip over some tape promos and stuff. Not all of it, but yeah, look. But MJF comes out to cut a promo. He buries New Jersey, but then again, isn't that low hanging fruit? You know what I'm saying? Right, chat. Am I right or am I right? Is burying New Jersey low hanging fruit? Like, I know everyone was like, oh, he did the line about the Jersey Shore skanks, and I'm like, it was funny, but I'm like, sure, but it's Jersey, right? So it's not that big a deal. So look, they naturally the audio. Well, so but basically, I'm trying to say too many things at once. Here we go. The MJF, is continuing to build this feud with Brian Pillman, right? And so the idea what they're doing here, right, is that MJF is the privileged upper crust individual, who poo-poos on anyone who's under his station, he's basically calling everything. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but he's basically saying that everything about Brian Pillman Jr. is white trash, and he's not exactly wrong, I say that lovingly, because Aunt Linda is an angel. That's all there is to it. She is the angel. She is a literal angel. I'm convinced she is a literal angel. I'm sure she takes her halo off when it's time to go out in public. She just wanders around and says hello to everyone. She's one of these people, when you meet on the street, you sort of walk, you have your groceries, you're walking, you're walking on the sidewalk, and you sort of just look off a little bit. Your eyes make temporary contact, and you see Aunt Linda, and Aunt Linda is one of these people that goes, hello. And then you're like, you're surprised, because you're like, no one ever walking down the street ever says hello to anyone. And so you go, oh, hello. And you're like, wow. And then you feel really good. You're like, just a random stranger saying hello, no strings attached. How cool is that? People are still nice. People are still friendly. That's what she does. And then she, after she's gone around the block and just saying hello to perfect strangers, she gets back indoors and she puts her halo back on, and she continues, making porcelain babies, little tiny miniature porcelain babies that she can give to elderly people who really, really like little porcelain babies. So, yes, I think angels create little porcelain babies. I don't know what to tell you. So that's the whole gist of the feud here, right? It's the idea. And Pillman really hammers home the fact that, he had to claw and scratch his way from his way up, that he had we all know how difficult his family life has been. We've all watched the Dark Side of the Ring documentary at this point, I'm pretty sure. If you haven't, you should, because then you have no idea who Aunt Linda is, and Aunt Linda is the greatest babyface of all time. But unironically, by the way, I'm not even trying to be silly about this. So here's the thing. This is what they're doing, to get the audience behind Pillman, right? And this was a good segment. It was a good promo, and the crowd was into it. The crowd was into everything last night. It's so wild. But here's the thing. Here's the one thing. The one thing that I kind of want to point out, but I mean, look, I feel like this feud is underscoring. Hang on. Let me try to approach this another way. No, I'm going to do this. I think this feud is underscoring just how average Brian Pillman is. Now, I always feel like I have to. I feel whenever I talk about Brian Pillman, I feel like I have to give a little, take a little here. So I'm gonna. Hello, Brickbat, by the way. Hi, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Here's what I feel about Brian Pillman. He is a competent pro wrestler. He's fine at what he does. I don't think he's anything special, though. I don't think he's a bad wrestler, and by God, don't anyone go out and say and create false impressions about me. I didn't want to. Just look, he is a far cry from being a bad pro wrestler, but I don't think he's as good as the spots he's being put in or the opportunities he's getting. God bless him that he has the Pillman name and that people remember Bryan Sr. so fondly and have such good memories of him and want to do good by his family and probably want to do good by his kid. I'm completely get it. And it's pro wrestling. How many wrestlers do we know that got into the business and got shots just because of whose kid they were, right? And that's just the nature of the business, and it will always be that way. And I'm not lamenting that. But Pillman, when he does his promo, Pillman is the most 1995 WCW promo I have heard in a long, long time. And in a way, it makes him endearing. You know, it's not. I'm not saying that in a trash way. It's like, he's terrible. No, there's something endearing about it. Something about how he delivers his lines. It's just so, he lacks the connection with the audience. Like, he's not a natural. He's not like his dad on that level where Flying Bryan was just a ball of charisma, fantastic promos all around. Excuse me. So he's okay, I just think it's weird. Like, even as a worker, like, he's still fine. And watching him wrestle more and more with Griff Garrison, you know what I'm getting real vibes of? I'm getting Edge and Christian vibes. Not in the charisma department, because I think they're both, Edge and Christian, are head over heels, charismatic, way over Griff and Pillman Jr. Excuse me again. But I get that vibe as far as their work goes. They're both, good professional wrestlers, but I feel like Pillman is the edge of the two, whereas Pillman feels like he's a bigger star. He's coming across more like the guy who's ready to break away, like the guy who's destined for the singles career, the guy who can live on his own. Whereas Christian was the workhorse of the two. And Griff at this stage is a better wrestler he's a better worker than Pillman is. That's what I'm getting right now as far as vibes go. And look, he's still, there's still time to evolve and develop and change, right? And this is another take I would gladly revisit in 5 to 10 years, where, considering I'm not dead. Why would I be? Like to revisit this and see how wrong I was. Pillman is very, very average. And my whole point right here is that I feel like MJF is literally carrying this feud and is making a big babyface out of Pillman. And I think it's very transparent right now. Unless you're extremely, extremely new to pro wrestling, which is great, by the way. If you're new to pro wrestling, you've come into probably the best era to get into pro wrestling within the past 2 decades. Welcome. We're glad to have you. But unless you're new, like some of you maybe are, I think it's pretty clear. I think you can see that MJF really is carrying all of this on his back. to make this feud work, to put Pillman over and, you know, eventually probably have Pillman lose to MJF. I mean, like, I get it. I get why he's there. That's fine. And if he was an egregiously bad wrestler, if he was a David Flair, I probably wouldn't be sitting here so level and at least trying to balance out very well my thoughts. You know, I'd probably just be sitting here and saying Brian Pillman Jr. stinks, but he doesn't. But then again, I think he's not as great as the opportunities that he's getting. How about that? Swiss Roll Chris is in the chat. Good to see you, as well as Heather Goetz. Goetz? Heather, tell me how to pronounce her last name. I'm terrible with last names. Kelly Tonjes. to this. And we also have Vape. Why do I always do that? Vape Ross Vape, who's in the chat and left us a super chat. Thank you very much, VRV. He says, Pillman Sr. was very boring his first 5 years. Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, okay, hang on a second. I want to dial this back a little bit. First 5 years. That would be... well, hang on a second. I'm having trouble placing my mind. Hang on. Let me pull up a little something here. Brian Pillman. Cuz I know there's a period where he was... Okay, we're really talking about, we're talking about the Stampede years, right? Before he headed to Japan. I'll get on board with that. But, you know, it's not as if Stu created, you know, a stable of ultra charismatic wrestlers out of old Calgary there. You know what I mean. And Ross says in the chat, he just to clarify his idea, he says that would be WCW, the early years. Well, again, the thing that made him stand apart was because he wasn't the loose cannon at that point, but he was creating a style. He was creating a style that, or bringing a style that wasn't seen. You know, that wasn't seen, but wasn't prevalent in New Japan, in WCW at the time, or in North America at the time. You know, very high flying, athletic. You know, he was going to Japan in the meantime. At least his in ring was exciting, and that's what they focused on, right? It was flying Brian Pillman. Unless there's stuff that I'm missing, but I do remember older stuff from Stampede, where I was like, all right, I can get it. I can understand. But yeah, look, I mean, Brian Jr. has more, you know, he still has time to evolve and mature, right? I'm just like, it's just the spots that he's in right now. Anyway, look, I think I feel like I've talked quite a bit on it, but like I said, gladly, proudly, actually looking forward to revisiting this in a few years. Looking forward to it. I know I'll just call you Heather. We got a great match with FTR versus Dante Martin and Matt Sydal that ruled. FTR is on a rampage again, and you gotta love it. I guess Cash Wheeler's injury wasn't so bad, so good. You know, and I was watching this match and I was like, look at how excited the audience was. And, you know, I had, you know, people popping up everywhere going, oh, this match is great. This match rules. And it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, we've seen better tag team matches in AEW than this. But people were still super excited and were hot for it. And the thought that dawned on me as I was watching this was like, look at how hot the AEW mid-card is. when you can take Dante Martin and Matt Sydal losing streak, right? He doesn't have a great win-loss record. Dante Martin is a dark guy, effectively, and have those guys wrestle FTR, and everyone is like, holy shit, let's do it. LFG, let's make it happen. And you see this throughout, week after week, how excited people are for the mid-card on AEW. And that's fantastic. That means you're heating up your guys and gals properly, so that when it's time for them to get to the big matches, the title challenges, and so on and so forth, they're already credible. People are already behind them. I think it's great. I really do think it's great. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. I don't think it popped up. There we go. But he left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, Bryan Jr. should wrestle Lulu Pencil like his dad. Now, hang on a second here. Lulu Pencil did not wrestle Bryan Sr. So, my thing here is that I don't understand the reference. And DGMC is very good at these obscure references. But I don't understand. Okay. She did not look. See, this is some kind of obscure reference that I don't understand. DGMC is pretty good at those. But thank you very much for the super chat. Want to say hello to the Dark Ops. Welcome to the chat. Malakai Black cut a promo as well in the ring. Goes down to the ring and Synergy. Rosario Dawson is there. She's co-host of the Go Big show. In case there were a lot of people who were wondering, what the hell is she doing there? Oh, you're talking. Oh my God, the pencil wrestling. Okay, I'm sorry. Just circling back to the Lulu Pencil thing. And he did wrestle a pencil in ECW. Yes, okay. See, I knew there was something that didn't connect. Thank you, DGMC. And it wasn't Lulu Pencil. Anyway. But Malakai Black he's there. Rosario Dawson is ringside. She's in American Nightmare gear. She's there to support. She's there to support Cody Rhodes. She's there to support Cody, her guy, who isn't officially booked on the card. He wasn't booked officially last night, right? So, did she have some inside information? Maybe it was a setup. I think it was a setup. Anyway, so the Rosario Dawson, the Jedi, she was there, and Malakai Black sort of takes offense. Anyway, look, she jumps the rail. Security doesn't stop her. And I'm like, what is this? No wonder there was that geek a few months ago who jumped the rail and was able to get to the ring to sort of punch Chris Jericho. Security's letting anyone willy-nilly just jump the rail and try to get their hands on people. Anyway, so she gets physical with Malakai Black, and not in that sense, yeah, weirdos. Then Cody Rhodes is in the arena, and he comes down through the people because he's a man of the people. A man of the people wears a tailored red suit, and he comes down, and he and Malakai brawl to set up their match next week. So that's pretty cool. We have Dan Lambert, who's in the ring with American Top Team as well. He cuts another one of his Jim Cornette promos. He actually, Paige Van Zandt is there, which was a big deal. Not gonna lie. I think that was, that was pretty cool. Chris Jericho eventually comes out with Jake Hager. This was a really good segment. I think the heat was there, the back and forth was there. I thought it was a much better, much more purposeful segment than the Dan Lambert segment from last week. I liked it, and you know what? Here's I think this is a very good program for Chris Jericho, and it didn't really dawn on me until I saw it. Until I saw him, jaw-jacking with Lambert. I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. This really makes a lot of sense. So, I think this is good. I think it's good stuff. We had Jade Cargill defeating Leyla Hirsch. Not a terrible match. I think this is Jade's best match in AEW so far. Dial it back, everyone. I'm not saying that this is the greatest match I've ever seen. I'm saying this is Jade's best match so far, I believe. But the thing here is that at the same time, it confirms to me just how green Jade still is. Now, do not confuse looks, presence, charisma with actual in-ring capabilities. Jade is still not there 100% to be a primetime mover and shaker. The matches that she had with Red Velvet were very good because Velvet knew what she had to do. Red Velvet is extremely adaptable to anyone she's wrestling, and I think that she has that naturally. She's able to bring the best out of everyone, and that was very good. Those were fun matches that made Cargill look like $1 million, that made her look like she can go. I think I don't remember who I was chatting with, but I had talked about it, how I felt that this match ultimately was a test for Leyla Hirsch to see if Leyla, who is still very young in the game herself, is able to hang with someone who doesn't quite have all that experience, is not super seasoned, and is able to carry her. Not carry's not the wrong word, but like work through their weaknesses and highlight their strengths, right? Which is what usually a good babyface can do for a heel, and vice versa. But the thing here with is that Leyla isn't quite there yet either. So you had two women who were maybe not 100% TV ready, going after each other, and like I said, the match was okay. I didn't have a problem with it, but it didn't hit any heights, and there weren't any major revelations to me in this match. I was like, oh, well, okay. All right. Both of them still need to be with talent, which is a little more seasoned, and that's fine. That's absolutely okay. And I'd be remiss, or I'd be going against my own principles if I didn't tell you that I don't necessarily have a problem with having women who are less experienced being on TV, getting the shine, getting the spotlight like that, being put in these high pressure situations, because that's ultimately how you learn. That's why you have stuff like Dark, and that's why you have shows like Dynamite, where it's like, okay, well, this is the big show. It's the mothership. You've got your quarter hour here. Go out, tear the house down, do what you got to do. Have your match. They were fine, but neither of them are super duper ready. You know what I mean? I think Leyla has more polish than Jade. I've seen Leyla have really great matches. Well, really good matches, put it that way. But Jade looks good. She's she's a counter wrestler. Power moves look great, and she looks like don't get me wrong, I understand. I get it. She looks like a star. She's fantastic. She's going to be big. still has work. And that's fine. Why not get behind a prospect like that? I'm absolutely okay with it. But, it's kind of a Pillman type of situation where I'm like, is she ready for the position that they're putting her in? I'd say no. That's just me. Then, okay, CM Punk throughout the evening, right, was on commentary. He was on commentary the entire evening. And then at some point, Taz comes out to confront CM Punk in the most Taz way possible, right? Taz he's bitter. He's got a chip on his shoulder. And he comes out and he says, what are you doing here, CM Punk? You're stealing my job, which I thought was fantastic. And CM Punk is like, no, I'm just sitting here doing commentary. What are you talking about? I'm not here to steal. And then this all devolves. Hook comes out, starts distracting CM Punk. Everyone's losing their shit because Hook is there, of course. And as everyone is losing their shit, Will Hobbs sneaks up, beats the shit out of CM Punk, even drives him. Well, it wasn't through the table, but there's a table spot on commentary, which was pretty cool. And look at what we're having here. We're having CM Punk getting set up in a match with Will Hobbs. And if this isn't fantastic for Will Hobbs, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If you can't see the value of a young guy like Will Hobbs getting into the ring with, returning resurrected saint hero of pro wrestling CM Punk, especially still on the cusp of his return, very, very soon on his return, I think it's great. They didn't flip around and say, okay, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho is next. Look, Punk said he wanted to work with the younger guys. That's what he wants to work with dudes that are hungry, that want to, that have something to prove. It's fantastic stuff. If I'm Will Hobbs, I'm stoked. I have trouble sleeping at night. I think this is great. This is it's a big deal for Hobbs. And look at, there you go. Investing in their future again. Is Hobbs going to defeat CM Punk? Probably not. But we know from nearly 3 years of booking in this company that losing matches doesn't mean that you disappear into catering for 6 months, then only to come back and be like, okay, well, let's put you back into this spot here. We know that's not how it works. It's not because you lose matches that you suddenly become terrible, or that you're cast aside. It's good. It's good. Got a nice little match with Darby Allin and Shawn Spears, which is fantastic. Good stuff. This, Darby Allin always has to do one of those suicide dives where, you actually think he's out to kill himself, but that was fine. It was good. Ended with Tully and FTR suckering Sting into taking a spike pile driver. And the man's bumping. He doesn't have to. He shouldn't need to, but he's doing it. And I really thought when they wiped off the crow makeup off of him, I'm like, do you want to bet that next time we see Sting, he's going to be in surfer outfit? Do you think that? I don't think so. Not as long as he's with Darby, right? That'd be too much of a clash. Then we got the segment, the Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega segment. And look, there's been a lot of talk on it already. I don't necessarily have to break it down. The two things that I like here, that Bryan Danielson, I know I called him Daniel Bryan. Here I come again. Bryan Danielson is showing aggression. He's showing ferocity. He's biting into this next chapter, and he's like, you know what? I'm not here to smile and put smiles on people's faces. I'm here to kick some heads in. That's what I want to do here. And he straight up tells Kenny Omega, I thought, you lost your balls if you don't want to face me, kind of thing. And they're doing the promo and they're saying, You know, and they're doing the promo, and Don Callis is saying, hey, you just arrived here, weirdo. You're not gonna get a shot at the title. And Daniel Bryan says, we'll talk about the title later. As it stands right now, I want to face the best, and Kenny Omega right now is the best. This is the fight I want. I just want to fight you. Right now, I don't care about the titles. I want to wrestle the guy who's allegedly the best in the world. And you'll notice in this segment how Kenny Omega had started off being his, this goofy heel personality, but at some point he started really not liking this. You could tell he was starting to get irritated, and there was no goofiness. Then he can't, it was down to business. Wasn't letting Don Callis make any decisions for him. Like Don Callis was saying, no, don't do it. And he was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fight him. And the thing here is the thing. And this is what I'm having trouble. I'm still having trouble realizing that this is going to be a thing and that we're going to see it in a week. But Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega is happening. It's happening. This is a match that people have been wanting for years. It's happened before, years ago, mid-2000s. But at this stage, superstardom, both wrestlers, the best at what they do. And this is where we're at right now. This is what they're doing. This is what we're getting. And it's happening. This is something that people would create in the WWE 2K games. They create a Kenny Omega clone, or in Fire Wrestling Pro, so that Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega could have matches, because they were like, it's never going to happen, and it's happening. And don't believe any of the weirdos, because they are weirdos, who are finding fault in having this match be on television. Now, these are just people who are just trying to poo-poo on your parade in the only way they have left. That is to say, well, they're not saving it for a pay-per-view. How droll. AEW's tanking their business. These are people who clearly still exist in 1995 and don't understand that the television business has evolved dramatically since then. Oh, they're just doing it to pop a rating. Yes! Yes, they are. Do you know why? Because AEW wants to make money off of TV licensing deals, because that's how you make money in television these days. So if you can prove your value to a network, they will pay you to put your content on television. That's how it works these days. And the pay-per-views, yes, you want good pay-per-view buys because it's good, it's extra income. But the TV is where it's at. So of course, it's just to pop a rating. Of course. Right now, AEW has a hot show. It's beating Raw 2 weeks in a row in the demo. Its ratings have been over 1 million for 3-4 weeks now, 5 weeks, I don't know, something like that. It's a hot show. Why would you not continue to promote it as a hot show? Don't let any weirdo tell you that this is a bad decision. Because as a fan, you should not see this as a bad decision. As a fan, you should be like, I'm getting this match, this legitimate dream match, not Goldberg versus The Undertaker dream match. No. We're talking about 2021 legitimate dream match. Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega on free television on a Wednesday night. All you have to do is plop your ass in front of your TV from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern and watch. That's all you have to do. That's it. You're getting that on TV. Now, why would you not be excited about it? The only thing that is keeping you from enjoying that is tribalism. And I can't get behind that. I can't support or understand anyone who looks at this and is like, And then you start talking business. They should have saved this for the pay-per-view. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? There's nothing to save. Plus, on top of this, the match is non-title. It's for bragging rights. It's literally the match, the dream match. It's just for the fans. And why would they not be putting on a huge match in the biggest stadium that AEW has run so far? They're going to have their biggest gate since they started. Why wouldn't they put this match on there? I mean, God bless them, but, you know, no one would really get this excited at Arthur Ashe if the main event was, you know, Eddie Kingston versus Miro. God bless him, it would be a great match, but that's not like exactly something that you put in your top stadium match, right? There's some weirdos out there, I'm telling you. Get excited. It's an order. And Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston defeated 2.0 in the main event. And look, 2.0 came out with their son, Daniel Garcia. It was a fun little beatdown from Mox and Kingston. Cool stuff. 2.0, they're not overshooting their position. They know what they have to do. They know what they're for right now. It's fantastic. I love it. They lose. And then the music hits. The king of pro wrestling, Minoru Suzuki, comes out again and gets the full Kaze Ninare thing. No Suzuki incident here. Now give me a second here, because we got to talk about the Suzuki incident. This happened, like I talked about it last week, because it happened on last Dynamite, right? And I was like, you know, the music cut and whatever. And I'm like, but it became such a huge deal on the internet. And I'm like, sometimes I wonder, you know, okay, I'm trying to say too many things at once. Here we go. I understand the appeal and the necessity of chanting Kaze Ninare at the top of your lungs. I get it. It's a thing. It's a beautiful thing. I can understand that some people were offended, and especially those who were in attendance, they were like, they didn't get to do it. And I get that, because it's part of the experience as a fan, right? But I was surprised to see just how mad some people were. And I could understand that some people were miffed, but mad to this point where it became a thing that AEW was like, we're going to address this on air. I thought it was hilarious, like how huge it had become. But it became such a big thing that they being AEW, they incorporated this into the booking. And if you don't think that's fantastic, I don't know what to tell you. This was great. It was a great move to take a grievance from hardcore fans, because this is hardcore fans we're talking about. A grievance from hardcore fans, you turn it around, you put it on your booking, you put it on your booking show, and your booking show, you put it on your show, you book it on your show. We're going to do this again. We're going to address it, and then you have Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki cutting promos on social media saying the disrespect, Suzuki-gun, diving into their collective history, saying Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, you guys disrespected the king. This cannot stand. I'm like, Jesus, this is great. They're just giving us an excuse to have a tag team match then between Mox and Kingston versus Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki. And who's not excited about that? And again, you're going to have the weirdos who are going to say, AEW is just doing this to pander to their fans. But I'm like, but how long have we been sitting around dealing with a company that does not listen to their fans and who misses the very essence of what pro wrestling is, where it's the reactions are what should determine your booking patterns and who you push and who you don't push and what angles are hot, what stories are good, who should be on TV and who should not, who should be on the shows, who's not. So you have a company literally saying, hey, you know what? We hear this. You know, you're mad about but instead of just being, oh, we're sorry, we're apologetic. It's like, now let's make an angle out of it. It is the most pro wrestling thing out there that's happened. It's happened. Promoter listens to what happens to the audience. Promoter adjusts his shows, his bookings to reflect that. If you're like, oh, well, they should have never addressed it. You've been watching one kind of wrestling for way too long. I'm telling you, this is the kind of thing that really does give me faith in AEW, because these are pro wrestling moves that they're doing. Classic that can't lose. This match instantly has heat. The build is already built in. It's fantastic. I love this Suzuki incident. I thought it went from being silly to being fantastic. Good job, AEW, on this. By the way, Minoru Suzuki, his tour of destruction of the independent circuit begins tomorrow. GCW highest in the room, he's fighting Jonathan Gresham. That's starting tomorrow, folks. On top of the stuff that he's still doing with AEW. He's fighting Homicide on GCW Get Lost a Lot on September 24th. Fred Rosser at the New Japan Autumn Attack show on September 25th. He's teaming with Lance Archer again versus Team Filthy at the Autumn Attack show on September 26th. He's at WrestleMax St. Louis versus Calvin Tankman on October 1st. I can't wait to see... Tankman's a huge guy. This is going to rule. Anthony Henry at Hail to the King on October 2nd. Daniel Garcia gets his turn at the King. West Coast Pro No Leaf Clover show, October 8th. He's fighting Joey Janela, GCW The Aftermath on October 10. Chris Dickinson at the New Japan Showdown in Philly on October 16th. He's supposed to appear in Philly on the 17th as well. Dominic Guarini at Time Bomb Pro on October 21st. And apparently there's still another GCW show. Rest in peace, the US Indies. A trail of broken bones and shattered dreams. Next week, we are getting the AEW Dynamite Grand Slam and Rampage Grand Slam shows that are all going to be, look, Dynamite going to be live from the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and then they're taping Rampage from Arthur Ashe, and we're going to get that on Friday. I'm telling you, these two cards, as it stands right now, nuts. It's like a pay-per-view week that we're getting. It's ridiculous how good this is going to be. AEW, here, check this out. Let's start this off. Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. I've talked about it. You need to be excited about this. You need to. All right? Britt Baker DMD versus Ruby Soho for the AEW Women's World Championship. I'm going to tell you, I'm hoping that there's a proper build on Rampage on Friday, because I think this was woefully neglected last night. My main criticism for Dynamite last night was to have not pushed harder on the Ruby Soho gas. Give her another match. Have her fight Leyla Hirsch. Like the Jade, I get Jade and so on and so forth, but you're building a contender for Britt. And this is happening next week. All right. They better have something on Rampage to add some fuel, a little more gas here, because We're getting Cody Rhodes versus Malakai Black. I know there's already some people who are clutching their pearls and they're ready to go, Cody's won his return match again, per usual. He's done the same thing with Brody. I don't give a shit if Cody wins this match because he let himself get destroyed by Malakai Black. And Malakai Black took out Arn Anderson, Brock Anderson, Lee Johnson, and Cody's brother. Even if Malakai Black loses to Cody in this match, it doesn't matter because Malakai Black is a made man in AEW moving forward. Personally, I'd be like, go the distance. Beat Cody again. Cody will probably get his win over. And I'm okay with that. Again, because this company has shown us that they can do long-term storytelling and that we'll probably revisit this down the line, this series of matches and have ourselves a rubber match, a good old-fashioned proper rubber match, just like Cody did with Darby Allin. So I'm not worried. What a good move from Aleister Black to have hit the bricks from WWE. Look at this. He's going to be in a headline match in AEW's biggest show so far. Biggest Dynamite, I should say. My God. CM Punk is going to have a live interview. Sure. Cool beans. MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. If I'm booking this, MJF goes over. I think he has to. And we're getting FTR versus Darby Allin and Sting. That's going to be a crowd pleaser. I hope they start with that match. That's going to rule. Sting is way too into wrestling for a 60-plus-year-old guy. It's good stuff. And then for the Rampage card, we're going to have Adam Cole and the Young Bucks versus Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, which was set up by Adam Cole on Dynamite yesterday. Adam Cole saying, I have a problem with Christian Cage and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Since I've been here, they've been in my face and I'm sick of these guys already. So we're getting the Elite versus these guys here. Then CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Great stuff. We're getting the Men of the Year versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. So Dan Lambert's new guys. Fantastic. And then we're wrapping everything up with, or at least we don't know or unless it's been announced. As I was preparing my notes and I didn't see it fly by, or it's happened while I've been doing the show here, but we still have Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley versus Suzuki-gun, Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki. We don't know what show it's happening on, but we do know it's happening. It is happening at Arthur Ashe. We just don't know what show it's on. This is great stuff. Get hype. And, as I said in the chat, good luck to Extreme Rules that weekend. That's it. You've got Extreme Rules for WWE that's happening on Sunday. But there's going to be a couple of days that this is going to be the narrative. And I was wondering, look, bold move from AEW to put 2 hours of Rampage, because Rampage is going to be 2 hours on Friday, not this Friday next week. The Grand Slam Rampage is going to be 2 hours. So at first I was like, is SmackDown being preempted? And AEW's like, yeah, let's start at 9 instead of, but no, they're starting at 10. I would have thought, look, either way it would have been, it's a bold move. If they had started at 9 to sort of challenge the second hour of SmackDown on its pay-per-view go-home show, that would have been a real good shots fired kind of situation. It's the kind of shit that I love. I love that kind of stuff. I really do. So I would have been okay with that. But they're gonna go 2 hours from 10 to midnight, and I already see people go, the ratings, when the ratings are gonna come out, they suck. They barely managed this amount between 11 and 12. Whatever. Exciting these days. Get excited with me, guys and gals and everyone in between. Justin Firestein, good to see you. Welcome to the chat, and also Certified Hustler. welcome to you as well. I'm running low on water. Usually I have 2 drinks, and I started, I was like, oh shit, I only have the one. Hey, if you're enjoying this so far, why don't you give the video a like here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. That stuff is cool. Become a member. You can also show support that way. I'll be talking more wrestling after we're done here. It's going to be a good time. Please join us. Join us! That's someone else's gimmick. I don't want to encroach. Oi, did you hear that NXT has been rebooted? NXT 2.0? 2.0. NXT 2.0. I don't know if you heard that NXT is now NXT 2.0. Because there's a 2.0 NXT now, and it's NXT 2.0. Let's speak on the show. I think there's some interesting talking points here. First and foremost, if I'm following, let's say, redesigns, revampings of NXT, wouldn't we be at 3.0? Because we had the game show, right? Then we had NXT proper. Maybe there's been 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. But the fresh coat of paint on everything, changed the setup, changed the studio, so on and so forth. We're at a 3. We're at a 3 here, I think. But if they want to call it 2.0. Regardless, you know what? It is the most 2006 boardroom appellation. This is complete. No one uses 2.0 for anything anymore. I remember when Web 2.0 was a thing back in 1999. And everyone was talking about Web 2.0 right up until it started being uncool to call anything 2.0 web related at the turn of the decade, 2010. And now WWE, it just goes to show. But anyway, it's a bit of a useless talking point at this. But I do feel like it's, the boardroom trying to show that it has some kind of connection, that it's 2.0, but no, it's just call it the new NXT or whatever. Hey, Liz isn't streaming. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Hope you enjoy your meal. So I think one would argue that NXT, that the kickoff to NXT 2.0 really happened when Samoa Joe announced that he was relinquishing the NXT title due to some injuries, to certain injuries, that he was dropping the title, vacating it. Yeah, I don't know what you think, Chad, about Samoa Joe dropping the title like that, but I'm going to tell you how I feel. If true, this clearly means that Samoa Joe's wrestling days are over. His final runs his previous runs on main roster before he became a full-time commentator were plagued with injuries. He's had a history of concussions. His knees. He's always had nagging injuries that always pop back, and put an end to certain pushes that he was getting. We'll all remember the push that he was involved in with Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders, if I'm not mistaken, versus the Authors of Pain. And who were the others? There were the Authors of Pain. Was it Seth? Yeah, it was Seth Rollins. It was Seth Rollins' church. Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and the Authors of Pain. Remember that group? That kind of ruled. And so that sort of derailed everything there for everyone involved, actually. So the fact that Samoa Joe has to relinquish because of injuries if he's getting injured again to the point that he's not medically cleared to compete after one match, then it breaks my heart to think that Samoa Joe's in-ring career is effectively done. Because this is a guy who has a long, storied career of fantastic matches, but never quite hit the heights that he should have hit in WWE for multiple reasons. Injuries being one of them. But after that, it's just like not understanding why Vince didn't see anything in the guy to ever make him a proper champion. Anyway, so it's kind of sad if it's true, because there is the possibility that it is a work, and a lot of people were theorizing about it, and it makes sense, that they're moving into this environment where they have two into this 2.0 environment is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. Trying to get into that environment, is it really a refresh of your brand if you're bringing back an old champion, a guy who used to be in NXT? You're bringing him back and he's your champion. And not only that, a guy who was on main roster and was brought back to NXT. It's kind of strange. And of course, then you have the conspiracy theories, which that I don't really adhere to. The conspiracy theories that Vince fired him and Triple H rehired him in NXT. But now that Vince is in control of NXT, well, he fired him once and for all. And I'm like, it's a little rough for me. I don't quite get that one. But I think, and I'd like to know what you think, Chad. I'm going to open up a poll here. Is Samoa Joe's... Hang on, let me try this again. Are Samoa Joe's injuries that made him drop the NXT title a work or not? Yes, it's a work. No, it's not. There you go. We'll just start up a nice little live poll here. I'll see what you guys think about it. Because there's a case to be made for there's a case to be made for the injury question, for the injury angle. It could be. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced that it is. But the time and I had people in the Discord, we had a bit of a discussion around it, where it's like people felt very strongly that we shouldn't be questioning, whether this person's injuries are legitimate or not, it's in poor taste, so on and so forth. I'm like, well, look, hang on. I want to pull something back. These injuries were announced officially by Samoa Joe, by WWE. So just like any sports organization that has members of its team that get injured, these things can be discussed, right? They can absolutely be discussed. I don't think there's... If it were dirt sheets reporting, behind the scenes news, oh, we have learned that so-and-so has a pectoral injury. And you're like, well, I've been around long enough to see wrestlers deny injury claims, and a lot of times false injury claims can cause more harm to a wrestler's career than good. So, those I'm like, but here was all official. So I don't have any problems discussing it. And this is also, this is a company that has led us to believe multiple times that has lost a lot of bad faith. That has lost a lot of goodwill. That's what I want to say. Over the years, for a bunch of decisions in regards to their talent, if people are naturally skeptical of WWE, it's WWE's own damn fault, really. If no one wants to take it really at face value. That's just my opinion. But I think there's a case for both, really. And I don't really know. The one thing that I don't buy is the Triple H rehired him and then Vince fired him again kind of thing. But that led us into NXT 2.0, right? That led us into the new show that debuted on Tuesday. I'm gonna tell you, again, if you've listened to my stuff for a little bit, you know, I like me some studio wrestling. I'm excited to see Dark, or is it Dark Elevation? Which one of the two is going to be the studio show for AEW? I'm excited to see that. I love the NWA Power setup. I like studio wrestling. I like the studio wrestling setup that NXT has. I think the arena looks good with the stands and everything. I feel the audience is really well mic'd, much better mic'd than at the CWC. I really think it was good. I think it was really, really good stuff. The lighting, so on and so forth. Now, the problem that I get, and this is personal, you know, I don't like my wrestling I like my wrestling a little grimy. You know, I don't like the super sleek production that WWE has on everything. And that was one of the appeals of NXT, right? Like it felt like the third brand. It felt the budget WWE, and that's fine. It was a little darker, was a little dingier without all out being dingy, you know, not like, you know, not 2005 Ring of Honor kind of thing. But, you know, it's like I like my audience, you know, darkened. You know, the audience is not the show, it's what's going on in the ring. But I feel like everything is too bright. The colors, everything it's very, there's a lot of sensory overload that happens. I love the screen. I like the screen that they have set up a lot more than the big screen that they have on Raw, which is just like a big LED thing. You know, the sort of the curve that looks like a can, and I don't hate it. But like the production, it's too sharp. There's something stark about it. And anyone from Toronto, listening, watching right now, I got the exact same feeling watching NXT to the first time I went into Honest Ed's in downtown Toronto. Rest in peace, Honest Ed's. But if you're from Toronto, or if you visited Toronto and you've been to Honest Ed's, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's exactly what I felt watching NXT. But just assaulted my senses a little too much. But you know what? I feel like commentary wasn't screaming as much. I think Vic Joseph was corny as hell, but they weren't screaming as much, and I can appreciate that. Want to say hello to Ray. Welcome to the chat, Ray. Nice to see you, Ray. And the first match we got on the new NXT, the brand new NXT, was LA Knight, who got challenged backstage by Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker, whose name is Bronson Recksteiner, who is Rick Steiner's kid, who was supposed to get the name Rex Steiner, but last minute they changed it back to Bron Breakker, Breakker with 2 Ks. Why 2 Ks? I think because 2 times the K, twice the killing power. I don't know. So, yes, the big discussion was, why didn't they leave Bron Breakker use the Steiner last name? Because he's a Steiner, and you look at him and he looks like a Steiner, he wrestles like a Steiner, and then when he cut his promo later on in the evening, he sounds like a Steiner. Just let the guy be a Steiner. And look at how excited people are at all these second generation wrestlers that are starting to pop up. In AEW, Austin Gunn has a stable with his kids. You got Arn Anderson's kid. Taz's kid. Taz never had, a working last name, but Arn Anderson has his kid there. You got the kids everywhere, right? People are into that stuff. Makes you feel like that. You keep that connection with wrestling. You're like, yes, I remember this legend here. I remember the Steiners. Yeah, Rick Steiner, he was cool. This is his kid, cool. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. And why would you not let the kid get over using that name, dipping into his history? The only reason I can give you here at this point is that they don't want him to get over on the name value. WWE has this thing where they're going to make you into something, into what they want. They're going to make you into a star. So whether you're a Steiner or, a Hayes, not like a Michael Hayes, but like a Warren Hayes, a name that means nothing in wrestling, they're going to take you, they're going to mold you, and they're going to make you into whatever they want. And they're going to be like, look, you succeeded not because you were a Steiner, but because you were a WWE developmental star. That's kind of the angle here. Convinced that's what it is. And of course, there was a lot of talk, in wrestling media about that. And yes, it is. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why you wouldn't let that fly. Let people get excited about the guy. But to me, the story here is that the first match on the new NXT is terribly booked. And to me, that's the real story here. On top of Rex Steiner not being Rex Steiner, way above that, is that Rex Steiner bumps into LA Knight, who is one of the 4 guys who is going to be wrestling, not to be the number 1 contender for the NXT title, but to become the next NXT champion. He's one of those 4 guys. He bumps into the new kid. They exchange some words, and LA Knight says, well, I'm going to fight you to open the match. They fight, and the new kid beats the guy who is one of the contenders for the championship in the evening later on. And I'm like, well, this is bad booking. Who says this is good? Then of course you're looking at the match after that. Like, LA Knight is a schmuck. Why is he even here? He can't defeat one of the new guys, one of the recruits, a rookie. Gets the best of him. Why is he in the... Switch it around. Later in the evening, you get Kyle O'Reilly who gets punked out, right? Kyle O'Reilly gets taken out of the match. And then they put, what's his name? Von Wagner. Jesus fucking Christ. Von Wagner. Is Von a first name? I have never met anyone called Von. My name is Von Wagner. That's a last name. There's a first name, like Keith Von Wagner. James Von Wagner. Just Von Wagner? What the fuck is that? Anyway, the Von Wagner ends up in the what turns out to be a triple threat. And I'm like, why didn't you let the Steiner kid be there? Why didn't William Regal trot his ass out after the LA Knight thing and be like, not Rex Steiner. I believe that you belong on the main event and you will have a chance. You will substitute for LA Knight, who has proven that he is nothing but a dunce. Right? And then that creates a feud with LA Knight, that he's pissed off at William Regal, so on and so forth. You get stuff out of this. But no, for some reason, Von Wagner ends up in the main event, and it doesn't make any sense. The sense that they make out of it is to say, well, Von Wagner saved Kyle O'Reilly from the beatdown. He didn't save Kyle O'Reilly from the beatdown because Kyle O'Reilly was unable to compete, so he wasn't saved. That's not what happened. So straight off the bat, NXT 2.0 has me going, this booking stinks. This is main roster booking, and we're going to have another instance of main roster booking as we talk more about the show. But one of the guys who was challenging for the title gets beat in the opening match, a match that there's no reason to have happen, by the way. He gets beat by a newcomer. That is absolute dog shit, moronic booking. Thank you for appreciating my William Regal impersonation. Thank you. But it's dog shit booking, and don't let anyone try to convince you otherwise. It makes no sense. We had Imperium defeating Brooks Jensen, who is Bull Buchanan's kid. Again, look, it's... If anything here, if he wants to call himself Brooks Jensen as opposed to Brooke Buchanan or whatever, Steve Buchanan, at least I can get that. It's not as if the Buchanans are this long heralded dynasty of wrestlers, Bull Buchanan is memorable for just his name, essentially, and being at the right place at the right time, because it wasn't, nothing special. He's not someone that everyone remembers fondly. What? Chat, seriously, what is your fondest Bull Buchanan memory? I'll wait. No, I actually won't wait because I don't want to delay the stream. But that's the point here, is that you end up with, okay, Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs losing to Imperium. Fine, good little match, whatever. Then you have Hit Row's B-Fab defeating Katrina Cortez, who is the new addition to Legado del Fantasma, and she looks like Carmen Sandiego, like she has the big hat and the red trench coat. And I'm like, this is Carmen Sandiego. Have her defeat her opponents through obscure geographical questions. What is the capital of Kuala Lumpur? What is the mountain range that separates that separates Uzbekistan from Southern Asia? Whatever. Anyway, Evan Wright, good to see you. Welcome to the chat, and you just said exactly what I was going to say. I was talking, Sean Walker, nice to see you too. Welcome to the chat. I was talking earlier about Jade Cargill, how green Jade is. Oi! B-Fab is green. She's so green. She looks like, she's like a St. Patrick's Day float. She doesn't look like a St. Patrick's Day float. She is like a St. Patrick's Day float. A green one. Which is very green because it's on St. Patrick's Day. You see? So that's, look, whatever. I don't think that was a good showing. She has so much work left that she needs to do. Yeah. Jamincito Gomez. I think I pronounced that correctly. Jamincito Gomez. Welcome to the chat. Then we had this really weird Carmelo Hayes Trick Williams promo. And, I think they're like, we're going to lean into, the edgy, younger demographic here, and we're going to let them cut promos in a style that will connect with the youths. But it just came across as cringe, like they were really trying too hard. I like Hit Row because it feels natural. Whatever Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams were doing, it didn't connect with me. But then again, I am absolutely 100% not in the demographic they're trying to reach with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams promo. I am a straight white middle-aged man. So it's clearly not speaking directly to me. I thought it was cringe. But I really like Hit Row. And me liking Hit Row is a point of contention in my relationship with the first lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes show, Kristen Ashley, where Kristen, she thinks they're corny as hell. I think they're refreshing and fun. I like them. I think it's refreshing. There's nothing on WWE television that resembles what they do. Plus, Isaiah Scott is phenomenal, and I don't know why that guy doesn't wrestle every other week. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, no, I thought this was whatever. Then we get Casey Catanzaro defeating Gigi Dolan. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter versus Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. And then they were teasing that Mandy Rose had a new presentation and was like, she's a brunette now. That was my call. And she hits the ring, takes off her hoodie. She's a brunette now. So she's evil, right? Apron Bump, good to see you. Hey, Apron Bump, good to see you. Welcome to the chat, man. So so this is what happens. And then they cut to commercial. And I turn to Kristen and I say, Kristen, you know what's going to happen? If this is main roster, if we are really going into a main roster environment, you know what's going to happen here? This DQ of a tag team match is going to turn into a 6-man tag because Saray came in to beat on Mandy Rose. And guess what? We come back from commercial. We got ourselves a 6-person tag. I said a 6-man tag. I meant a 6-woman tag. Apologies. But the point remains that it's shit main roster booking. This is exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. But I like this match. I think it was my match of the night. All of the women worked super hard in this match. No one was slouching. Everyone was pulling their weight. It was a good, fast-paced match. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I honestly really liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, had a shit finish, but it's, that's it. This clean finishes in WWE are rare. They're super rare. I wish there were more of them because there's moments that it would really benefit. And we had Ridge Holland defeating Drake Maverick. For some reason, this was booked. Is it because we still feel bad for Drake Maverick, who was fired and then was brought back? All that feel-good energy, all that good babyface heat that he had. You remember that? Is that why? Anyway, Ridge defeated him. Then we got the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed, from the Diamond Mine defeating two dudes. I'm going to tell you, I don't dislike the idea of these two jocks, because that's what they are. Honestly, they really give me Varsity Club era Steiner Brothers vibes. You got these two jocks, just brothers, couple of goons, who just want to run around and toss people around. I like that. And I get behind them. Are they green? Yes, they're green. They're fresh out of the PC. Yes, what's his name? I think it's Brutus, who dropped a guy on his head or close to, like a bit of a sloppy spot. But the Diamond Mine right now is the most fun thing on NXT. It was for weeks. Then Tyler Rust, whatever they called him, hit the bricks. They tossed his ass out. Now they have these two guys. They have Roddy, who's still one of the best workers in the company. Now they've added, what's her name? Ivy Nile. That one who competed on that one American Ninja. Was it American Ninja? Or American Gladiators? Or Wipeout? It was one of those. yeah, look. I like the Creed brothers. I want more of them. I want more Diamond Mine. Roderick Strong versus Kushida should be great. Titan Games, thank you. I knew it was one of those things, and they all sort of mishmash together. Like, look, I'm an older guy. I told you this, so I remember like the original American Gladiators, and everything after that is a copy of the original American Gladiators. I don't know what you're doing. But this was cool. Like, I like the Creed brothers. And they're building them properly. Bringing them in, giving them jabrones, tossing them around for like 2-3 minutes, getting squashes. What more do you want? That's how you build guys. I keep saying it. So whenever WWE does it, I'm like, yeah, okay, do this some more. Do this more. And they're not wasting our times with promos from the Creed brothers. Although it's still early, but we haven't got anything where they go, oh yeah, when we were growing up, we were bullied at school. You know, no bullshit like that. We're just good with this. Got the NXT title fatal 4-way, which was actually a 3-way, where Tomasso Ciampa defeated it was a 4-way, excuse me. Defeated LA Knight, no shocker, Pete Dunne, and Von Wagner. I'll tell you one thing. I think it's okay to goof on the NXT names. I think there are reasons why some people change their names. So if they ever go back on the indies, they can still use their indie name and keep their cred there. But I think it's another level to goof on, the skill. Von Wagner was not ready to be in this spot. Like, he was a little out of his depth here. There's a lot of experience in this match, and a lot of people who wrestled often with each other. So he was out of his depth here. Breakker, Rex Steiner, he has all the makings of a really good wrestler. I honestly do think WWE has something special on their hands with him. But Von Wagner, holy shit. I still don't understand why Von Wagner was in this match. I still don't. But I've ranted about that. Anyway, so look, the match is fine. It's nothing to write home about. Ciampa wins Goldie again. Good for him. Nothing like ushering in your new era of NXT by crowning a guy who is clearly entrenched in the old NXT. But, I'm bitching for the sake of bitching. Ciampa is a great choice as champion. I really was expecting that they were at bare minimum, they were going to put it on Pete Dunne. I was afraid, knowing how shitty WWE booking can be, that they were going to put it on LA Knight because he did lose the first match. And I think a lot of people were pulling their hair out on the internet, but thank goodness it didn't go that way. Tomasso Ciampa is in. He's already been challenged by Bron Breakker next week. Does that mean that Braun Strowman really is done? Because you can't have two Brons, right? Maybe Braun Strowman really isn't coming back to WWE. Or when he does come back, Bron Breakker is just going to become Breakker. And then he's going to get a semi-truck driver gimmick. And he's going to carry a CB radio with him. And his finishing move is going to be called the 10-4 Good Buddy. You heard it here first. Breakker. And then we got the wedding. And you know what? I feel like the build to the wedding, the little segments, wrestling weddings are what they are, okay? But they're part of the fabric of this goddamn ridiculous sport that we all enjoy watching. They're part of the North American fabric. Been on Impact, they did them in WCW, they did them in WWE. So Okay, they're going to happen. But you know what? I think they did such a good job making Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell so goddamn endearing that the thing worked. Because they established the characters week after week. They had all this. They had all these personalities and little stories amongst each other. It worked. What do you want from me? Was it the greatest thing ever? No. Would I have preferred an extra 10 minutes on the main event, on the Fatal 4-Way? Yeah. But for what it was, I thought it was entertaining. And I have sat through so many wrestling weddings that were just dog shit. Were bad. This one, I think it did the job. Now, what needs to be underscored here before we close up the new 2.0 NXT of 2.0-ness, that if you ever doubted that this was a new era for NXT, it should have been that you're like, no, this is really like the old NXT. Having the main event be the wedding should be the telltale sign that this is no longer your father's NXT. This is not even your NXT, the one that you fondly remembered back when Sami Zayn was NXT champion, when Shinsuke Nakamura was there, when Samoa Joe and Finn Balor were fighting each other, or even during the storied and hollowed Tomasso Ciampa Johnny Gargano storyline. All of that is done. It's gone. Because NXT 2.0 on its very first night main evented with a wrestling wedding. Whatever you knew about NXT is gone. So I hope you had the time to say your goodbyes, because this is the equivalent of your family pulling the plug on grandma before you were able to get to the hospital to say your goodbye. By the way, I hope your family never pulls the plug on grandma before you get to say goodbye. You know what? I hope your family never has to be in a position where they have to decide to pull the plug on grandma or grandpa or anyone at all. Just to be clear. I don't have the coffin dance meme queued up. I'm stupid. I really should have, right? This is a fail on my part. It's I'm going to make it up to you somehow. I know. I don't have it. Well, let me check. No, I don't have it. It's not in my scene. Sorry. I want to wrap this up talking a little more WWE. SmackDown last Friday. Where's the now? Relax, everyone. Relax now. Look, people are in the chat calling for me to play the coffin video. Okay, you know what? You babies. Because I didn't get ready. I didn't think about it. You know what? Because I wanted to talk about wrestling. They want me to play the coffin the coffin music meme as a send off to NXT proper, right? All right. Well, if this is what you want. My God. The things that I do for you people. Where is it? Where am I? This is gonna... All right, are you ready for this? This had better work. I swear if... All right, that's enough. If I get copyright, if I get a strike for this. Rest in peace, NXT 2.0. It was worth it. I hope the Hayes incident. But it's a live show. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. SmackDown last Friday. No, it played. SmackDown last Friday. I thought it was the Madison Square Garden show. Oh, look who just showed up. It's Kristen Ashley, the First Lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Yeah. Welcome to the show, darling. SmackDown last Friday was the Madison Square Garden show. It was the big show. It was the multi-brand show, you know, all that stuff that they wanted to set up, right? And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people were raving about it. We're saying it's fantastic. And you know what? I'll say this. I thought the SmackDown MSG show was a really good second hour of programming. I thought the first hour was just your typical run-of-the-mill rigmarole SmackDown without anything really interesting. Sure, Brock showing up is a big deal. It's fun. It's cool. He's got a bun. He's wearing flannel now, and he's coming in. He's going and he wants to beat people up. That's fine. That's great. But it's another 18-minute promo. The 10-man tag match, I didn't like it. Thought it sucked. Had that thing with that Atlanta Hawks guy who used to play for the Knicks, I guess. And he shows up and people are booing him. I don't follow the basketball. So I'm like, okay, well, clearly this is not for me. But I'm sure someone enjoys it. But outside of that, the match was nothing. That was nothing. Contract signing, bad. Of course contract signings are bad. You know contract signings are bad. You're a listener to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. It is a complete, utter lack of creativity. It's lazy creative. Whenever they pull out a contract signing is because they don't have a better idea. And it's lame. And it's always the same thing. And we got a very formulaic, very, very boring contract signing. I still don't know why Bianca Belair is skipping to the ring when she should be mad as hell. But of course, she has to do her entrance before anything else. Your personality begins and ends with your entrance, Bianca. It has nothing to do with you actually being mad because you were screwed out of your title by Becky Lynch, right? Anyway, look, weird stuff. I don't understand. I don't like contract signings. It was and Becky Lynch, man, I don't get it. I still don't. See, you have on one hand, you have the company here giving the complete opposite to what their audience wants. Their audience wants to cheer for Becky Lynch, and they're not giving it to it. And then the next night on Raw, Big E, right? But I mean, I don't understand it. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I thought, but then the Seth Rollins Edge match happened, and I thought it was really good. I liked it better than their SummerSlam match, personally. And I liked how, this tied into Seth's character again, where he does something egregious and he has regret. Nothing as hokey as poking someone's eye out this time, but just like, I'm stomping you on your neck that I know is surgically repaired and, will be your Achilles heel for the rest of your career, might actually end you, but I'm still going to stomp the shit out of it. I kind of liked it. I thought it was cool. And the show ended hot with the Street Profits Usos match, even though the ending was a DQ and you couldn't get a proper ending to save your life on a WWE show, it seems, except for this Seth Rollins Edge match. That was fine. And then the Demon showed up. It was a crowd pleaser. This show was a crowd pleaser. And it delivered on action for at least 1 hour. And this is my main takeaway from the SmackDown, from last Friday's SmackDown. It's not as if WWE doesn't want to put on, it's not that WWE can't put on good wrestling shows. It chooses not to on a weekly basis. I don't think SmackDown this week is going to be as good because, we have to do the big show because it's SmackDown at MSG, but we're going to fall into the same old patterns very, very quickly. And it's frustrating when you see Edge and Seth Rollins having a really good match on TV. And I'm like, this is something that they should be putting on week after week. It sucked. And you know what else sucked? No women's match again this week. No women's match again this week. Either Friday or the Friday before. It's not as if they're seeking women talent. But I do have to talk about Big E. This is how we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap this up on a high note, because it is a high note. Big E wins the WWE Championship. He was on SmackDown and he said he had teased it, said I might cash in on Monday. He starts teasing it heavily on social media, shows up on Raw on Monday, says I'm cashing in tonight, boys. Because Bobby Lashley was defending against Randy Orton, who was a match that was supposed to happen at Extreme Rules, but they put it on Raw. Now, if that wasn't your biggest cue, your biggest hint right there, that was, Big E's cash-in was going to be successful, well, again, you must be new to pro wrestling. And welcome if you're new to pro wrestling, by the way, because you've decided to become new to pro wrestling in an extremely exciting time to be into pro wrestling. So welcome. You've chosen a great time to do it. Lashley hurts his knee during the match with Orton, but he spears him, gets the win on Orton. Then Big E's music hits. He runs down with the ref and the briefcase. We cut to commercial. When we come back from commercial, Big E slaps Lashley, which I thought was really cool. Ref calls the match. Lashley tackles him, starts beating him up, but Big E he works the injured knee. Lashley counters out of the big ending, hits a spear. Big E kicks out of the spear, but Big E then does hit the big ending to get the win. Now, here's the thing. You cannot but not feel good about this, especially when you saw the reaction that accompanied Big E winning the title. You've always heard how much of a good, well-liked guy he is backstage. Everyone loves him. Everyone thinks he's fantastic, and he's a great influence, a leader in the locker room. And you just have this outpouring of love after. From wrestlers everywhere, from the other companies, from within the company, from the independent circuit. People just got deserved, well-deserved, just outpourings of love. And you love to see that kind of stuff because that really is indicative of the type of person that person is. So I'm bless him. That was absolutely fantastic. As a white guy, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how important Big E's win was for the black community, for black people. I mean, look, historically speaking, this is the first time in WWE history that a black world champion passed the title on to a black challenger. That there's two black champions in a row. It's a big deal. I think on top of Big E being the first African American to win Money in the Bank, right? So all of this is, a whole bunch of firsts, and you can tell the community is really behind this. So I'm not going to sit here and speak on it. There's plenty of people out there, and a lot of my mutuals, a lot of people I respect, a lot of peers who are black, who were just thrilled by the situation, who leaned into the idea that black wrestlers draw, right? We saw that hashtag happening, and you need that type of representation. I think there's variety is the best possible thing ever. It keeps everything from being stale. Why wouldn't we have champions from all creeds, sizes, and painting reaching out to the largest amount of people out there possible. I'm studying a little bit because, again, I'm a white guy and I don't, it's not my spot to sit here and really vouch for it. I support it. I think it's fantastic. And but personally, I was thrilled to see how my black mutuals, friends, colleagues, peers, how excited they were about this. And that means a lot. That means a lot. Kind of makes you wonder just how much WWE is paying attention to these types of discourses that has been happening over the past few weeks regarding diversity in wrestling promotions, and especially in the top spots. It's been a point of contention, and I think these are important conversations to have. And in these circumstances, like I tell anyone who's a white guy or a white gal, just listen to what's being said instead of trying to go and challenge it, and listen to what's being said. Absorb what black people of color, Asian people, what they're saying when they're talking about representation, when they're talking about the need to see themselves in what's going on. I can appreciate that, and I can get behind that. And this is the type of situation where you take a step back and you enjoy it. And on top of everything, if we're just talking pro wrestling outside of, maybe more social implications, Big E is a fantastic wrestler. He's been doing this for so long now. He has given everything to this company. And he's always maintained his spot. His spot as a guy who's just over with the audience. A great performer who's just always remained relevant, right? I'm going to close it on this. Again, there's going to be weirdos. I'm talking a lot about the weirdos tonight, but there are going to be weirdos who are going to say, now he has to become serious. Now he has to stop being a goofball and he has to be serious because he's champion. And I'm going to tell you, same thing that when the weirdos were talking about Kofi Kingston, I'm going to say the same thing here to all the same weirdos. Why would you change what brought him to this level in the first place? He was so cool when he was Big E Langston. I want the 5 count to return. Why? Why would you want the 5 count to return? I don't understand, because that's not what brought him to this level. There's no reason to do this. Now it's the time for him to turn on the New Day. Why? Why would you want that? That's not what brought him to this place. Otherwise, it's going to be like a Becky Lynch situation where you're like, what the fuck, man? I'm supposed to be cheering for her, and now you're trying to get me to boo her, but I want to cheer for her. Same situation here. Why would you force Big E Langston to be anything else than Big E right now? That's what brought him up to this spot here. Let him live through this. See the future. We'll see down the road. We'll see what happens later. But this is great. It's such weird reactions. Weirdos. Bring back Big E. Bring back the 5 count. No, don't. You remember when he started his singles run when they split up the New Day and he was on SmackDown? They brought back the hand powder shit. You remember they did that for 1, maybe 2 weeks? And it hit the bricks. Why? Because it sucked. Because it's weird. Because it doesn't make any sense. Because that's not Big E anymore. He's not the big power lifter. That's not who he is anymore. He's a guy, he comes in, he gyrates his hips, he's charismatic, he can trade barbs, and he promotes sexual innuendo in wrestling promos. That's what he does. That's what endeared him to us. That's who I want as a champion. There you go. I'm going to leave it on that note for tonight. Hey, let's wrap this up properly with the weekly wrestling inspection saying bye-bye. I cannot thank you all enough for spending the evening with me here tonight on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes for those of you who are live. Remember, if you want to become a member, it's a good time right now because I'm about to hop over onto the post stream for members only, and we are going to continue talking about pro wrestling. What are we going to talk? What are the subjects we're going to be talking about tonight? I don't know. It's you guys who are going to pick. There's so much stuff going on in wrestling tonight. I want to hear what you guys want to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about. Surprise me. So just become a member. Come and join us. We take calls from the Discord. We talk with the live chat quite a bit. It is a fantastic time. But it was a fantastic time here tonight as well. And I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank everyone who's listening right now. Do subscribe. I hope I earned your subscription. If you're not already subscribed, jump right in. Give the video a like, a thumbs up here on YouTube as well. That's very much appreciated. Whew. That was a good one. I had a lot of fun. Hope you guys had a lot of fun too. And hope you have a great rest of your evening. Have a great weekend, folks. There's the music. We'll see you next time.